Okay, so I feel like the bones of it are there, and again, I'm just trying to get a quick impression. I'm not looking to do anything too specific or detailed. So at this point, I'm just going to focus on putting in some details that I think will really bring a few places to life. And that's kind of where I'm going to leave it. So I got my pastel pencils and new pastels back out because I think I'm going to use those to help me put in a few bits of detail. I do want to come back though. I want to warm up this area here. That earlier lighter green was just there's too much white in it, and I want a little more yellow in that light. So I'm going to scumble on a little of that. See, I got it into my tree trunk. That's okay. I feel like that's better. Just that little bit of an adjustment I think is good. And I let this front shadow shape get a little, I let it get a little away from me. I think I put too much light in it. So I'm going to come back in with that blue violet, tone it down just a little bit more. Maybe bring a little bit of that umber back. Again, I don't mind if the edges are pretty unfinished. I actually kind of like that because it really helps me keep my focus elsewhere. I do feel like though I need to bring a little more light down here. I know I said I wasn't going to chase the light, but we won't call this chasing. Just scumble a little bit of that umber down here. And again, just kind of twisting it around a little bit, really lightly glazing it over the canvas. It's not canvas, the panel. And maybe even in a few places here, kind of in this area that I'm thinking of as a potential focal point. Let me press a little harder and maybe indicate more specific leaf shapes that are kind of growing down there, which still kind of reads a little bit in the shadow to me. And if I wanted, I could take that same kind of darker blue shape and throw a little bit of harder shapes in there too. I just keep stepping back. Kind of lost this tree trunk, and it's a bit darker, so it's a green, but I'm going to put it back in. Just tap the edge of it to soften it. Of course, it should line up with what's up here. Which kind of brings that shape a little forward. Again, it's still really soft edges. I'm not looking for hard edges anywhere. There's a little bit of light though. That I liked before, so I'm going to come back and put that in. And again, maybe push a little bit harder, those final details. So I kind of like the sense of that. And then what I'm going to do is take a pastel pencil. This Payne's gray maybe. Yeah, let's do this green gray. Just to create a color. I'm going to come in and just pull it up, push it up, let it skip around. Just sort of give a sense of little sticks and smaller branches that are growing up out there. Don't make them all go in the same way. few little details. In fact, I might do the same thing back here with these distant trunks. Kind of let them go. And just that skipping action makes them look a little more natural. Just to darken some of these up a little bit. Of course, make sure they're not evenly spaced out, right? We don't want that. Some of them probably need to come down. There's some really twisted tree branches over there. I think that's good. Okay, I'm going to come back to this orangey color. I'm going to come back through here. Drag a little bit over some of those sky holes just to sort of set them back a little bit. Now I'm going to come in and I'm going to make some pretty distinctive, just sort of pushing down and just pushing the pastel a little bit, some really definitive marks. Not too many. And of course, look what I've done. I've put it pretty much smack dab in the middle of the paper. And I believe that was a gunshot or a car backfiring in the distance, so.
Oh, I bet it was a gunshot.
It sounded more like a gunshot. Well, we're on the edge of town.
Yeah.
We're in a city park. We're fine. I'm not worried about it.
Hopefully it was just a recreational gunshot.
Yes, recreation hunting. Surely somebody's hunting not too far. We're right on the edge of Osage County, actually, and a lot of farmland just right along hills and pastures right on the other side of the trees. So that's probably what that was. All right. So I just kind of knocked those back, and I'm going to come in and make some of these marks over here. I don't want so much attention right in the middle of the painting. And let's go ahead, just to help bring our attention back over here. Let me go ahead and put some lighter marks on some of these leaves too. As the light is streaming through. That helps a little bit. You have a little bit more of the orange down here too, if that helps. Maybe a few more little twigs and things coming up. Some little twigs and things that are highlighted, hitting some of that light. And I feel like I want to drag a little bit of that lighter color down here on this grass too, because there are some leaves that have fallen here. So maybe that would help kind of lighten up that area too. Go back to this Payne's gray, and I'm going to come up here into this tree. Lots of really small, scratchy little limbs. I'm going to make them thinner as they come out to the edge. We're all kind of growing up and out, so follow that pattern along. And now we can go back and just ever so slightly cover some of them up, because they are interrupted by leaves here and there. And again, to keep it from getting too out of control in terms of color, I'm bringing some of this more orangey color in so it's not all bright yellow. just sort of come back and forth. Some little bits of leaves catching the light. We can kind of help bring our eye down a little bit further down here. And much like clouds, you have to watch what you put in your leaf shapes, because to me now it looks like two eyes, a nose, and a smiling face. So I can't let that go. Sometimes you see something in your clouds or in your tree shapes, and once it's seen, it can't be unseen, right? So let's break that up. Let's do something like that. It's a little better. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to call it good for the moment. And what I will likely do, and I don't always do this, sometimes when I'm painting plein air, whatever gets done on location is what gets done. But I think I just need to spend a little more time looking at it. And probably when I get it home, I'll make a few more adjustments here and there. But I need just to take a little break from it. And it's probably 90% of where I want it to be. It follows my value map. I feel like it captures the color of those leaves pretty well. But I just almost feel like I'm to the point where I'm going to start just picking at it. And nothing good comes from that. So I think I just need a bit of a break and to kind of reassess it. And so what I'll do is when I get it home and have some time, maybe later today, maybe even tomorrow, look at my photo again, look at my value sketch again, and I'll make a few little adjustments here and there. One thing I know I want to do is sort of bring this grassy area back, give that a little bit of depth back there. So I think this is a good point to sort of wrap it up. I would rather stop and slowly ease my way toward finishing it rather than overwork it. Because at that point... Hey everybody, I just wanted to show you what I ended up with as a final painting. The plein air demo that you just watched, my new friend Dylan recorded just a couple of weeks ago. So I brought that piece home after looking at it for a while and decided I liked the palette a lot. There were things about the light shadow patterns that I really liked, but the composition just wasn't speaking to me. So I did what I often do when I paint plein air. I don't think of those pieces too often as finished paintings. They often, for me, don't turn out as finished paintings. I'm thrilled when they do. But more often than not, I end up using them as studies. And so after I came home, went back, looked at my sketch, looked at some of the other photos that I had taken, I decided to redo that painting, to actually use the same color palette. So I actually kept my palette. It's right here, of the same pastels I was using. I just took my Heilman palette tray off and covered it with foam and a small piece of foam board and just put a rubber band around it and carried it home. So I would just paint a different interpretation of that same scene with the same palette, and I wanted to show you what that looks like. And this is sort of what I'm thinking of as the finished piece. And I'll take a separate photo of it and post it so you can see it. I just kind of zoomed out a little bit. I think just being so close in with that tree, I was originally sort of just focusing on this, but I wanted more of the background, and just to sort of put that tree in a larger context. So this is the final image of what I decided to paint from that session, and I may revisit the same subject matter again. I've got a lot of photos, certainly can go back to the same park. But I hope that you enjoyed just getting to see my process, and that you're inspired to get out and do some plein air painting of your own. Obviously winter's coming, so it's a little harder to get out and do some plein air painting, but if you're prepared with the right equipment and are dressed warmly enough and find a good location, there's no reason we can't do some great plein air painting in the winter too, right? So anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching. Thanks so much for taking the time to watch this demo. I'm happy to chat with you online about it if you'd like. Stay safe, stay well, and I'll see you soon. Thanks.